Yeah, what's in the box, Melissa?
Adam, I'm so excited. What we have here is the Alienware Area-51m gaming laptop. This was introduced at CES. I saw it ahead of time in New York City. This is one of the most beautiful laptops I've ever seen. Dell has done a completely new design language for the Area-51m.
Nice, let's get it out and check it out.
It's not just what's outside, it's inside. And I am gonna need, oh, look at this. So look, pure tape. We haven't recut it. So that. And that, by the way, this box weighs about 20 pounds.
Oh boy.
Supposedly the laptop is a little less than 9 pounds.
It's an Alienware, all right.
Woo.
There it is.
All right.
Dang.
So this is the new flagship laptop for Dell's Alienware line. We get to see the bottom.
But this is the part you want to know.
This is the cool part. First of all, it has this wonderful honeycomb venting underneath, and Gordon's got his screwdriver ready, but before we do that, I'm just going to let you know, there are dual fans underneath here. Let's pull off these screws so you can see what's underneath. One of the other cool things about this laptop is that it's really upgradable. You have 3 drive bays, plus you can upgrade the memory, and you can upgrade the CPU. And this laptop has a desktop class CPU. I think, do we have the 8750H?
This is the Core i9-9900K.
Yeah, the 9900K.
It is a socketed desktop part, which has been done in the past, but not by somebody in a long time.
No, but that explains why you have all this ventilation here. And when we move the laptop around, you're going to see there are huge exhaust ports in the back, as well as intakes on the side. And, you know, we're going to have to see how hot this thing gets when we test it.
Well, luckily it is an Alienware, so it's nice and thick. You got room for cooling.
Yeah, we don't. You've probably seen videos of the outside, but I want to see what.
Yeah,
how easy it is to get in here.
They had a really great blowout in New York, but obviously that took all the work away.
They say that this thing has the equivalent of some desktops in airflow. There's 8 heat pipes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Don't bend the plastic.
Yeah, let's not.
There you go.
To come off together.
There we go.
Wasn't too bad. There it is.
Oh, this is interesting.
So is it inverted?
What are we looking at?
Well, I guess it really doesn't matter, but there's there's 4 SODIMMs. On paper, 4 DDR4 2400s. They actually say these are clocked at 2666. You can put, because there's 4 DIMMs, you can put up to 128 gigs of RAM into this laptop if you use the new 32 gig SODIMMs. You have a 2.5 inch drive.
Well, and one of the things I want to point out is this is the stamping I was telling you about. So these stamped things tell you what kind of screw you have, what kind of screwdriver you need, and also what kind of slot it is. Like it points out the battery there, and it even has a label for the illumination, which is kind of interesting. You can obviously see the 2 fans here, and I don't know if we can flip this over. Unfortunately, you can't see the heat pipe.
Well, so to
you
get
can kind of see them, yeah, you can kind of see them there.
There's the CPUs here. We're not going to actually go to that level because we do want to run some tests before we take the thing apart. Go out and watch Linus's video. He's done a great job on it. The CPUs here, standard desktop 9900K, also down to 8700 and a 9700K. And also for the graphics part, the holy grail of graphics though, in laptops is right under here, and there is a custom designed graphics board. This has a GTX 2080 full tilt max P as they call it, but Alienware has designed the back of this. There's a module, if you stripped it down on the motherboard, you can actually replace the entire graphics card. So in 3 years, 2 years, whatever, when you're sick of this 2080 in performance, Alienware would hopefully sell you a new graphics card. You'd swap it out, or they'll send somebody to your house to do it, and you're ready to go.
That's pretty cool.
Again, that has not been. This has been done before. Asus tried it about 10 years ago. It went nowhere because at the time graphics cards just kept getting hotter and hotter and using more power. Alienware's really betting that since 2080 is based on 14 nanometer and most of the Radeons are based on older processes, that the next generation of graphics cards are going to get cooler. So it's a calculated bet. They are not saying they can guarantee it, but they're not going to go through all this engineering
No.
if they can't give you at least one more graphics card. So I think it could actually work out.
And they're obviously also hedging their bets with the dual fans, and you see the fans are both on the outside of the laptop, so they can really just pull all that air outside. I wanted to point out the 90 watt-hour battery that's taking up a significant amount of space in the back of this
Isn't that larger
laptop.
than TSA will allow?
No, 100 watt hours
Oh,
max.
100's the limit. And I also wanted to point out there are 2 AC adapters that you get with this laptop. They're probably over here. You get a 330 watt.
Yeah,
and
let's
let me
bust
pull
them
this
out.
out.
I'm interested to see the size difference.
Okay, here's the 180 watt. This is the lightweight AC
Okay,
adapter.
that's not too bad.
Yeah, I guess, for a gamer. And then here is the 330 watt AC adapter.
So you only use one or the other, or you?
Yeah, it's only one
Oh,
or the
okay.
other. You don't need to use both, like on the Predator 9000, I
The
think.
21X.
21X, yeah. So this is obviously not the one you would take with you, but this one you could conceivably put in your backpack.
So is it smart enough to know which one you're using and kind of
I would guess
run
so.
efficiently then?
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically tell the laptop how much power is available.
Okay.
And so for storage options, you got 2 M.2s. They're already here. You have your 2.5-inch drive for your bulk storage because you're not going to fit everything in. Also, of course, easy access to the SODIMMs. So all the stuff, and also the wireless.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
It's the wireless card, and this laptop has 2.5G, right? So, quarter 10 gig is whatever the hell it is you'd want to call it. But
Well, I thought 5G was the new thing.
no, I'm talking about
I'm
for
kidding,
Ethernet.
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, instead of gigabit, should I put the bottom back on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
put it
sure.
back on so we can see the top.
And it's a nice touch. I think these, are they captive?
Hard to tell.
I kind of,
Don't want to.
Don't want to lose.
yeah,
them,
I think
right?
they're actually captive screws. That's a really nice touch. The bottom
That would be a
is
nice touch.
is not aluminum. It's plastic.
Oh, is it?
It's a nice rubberized finish on it.
I just weighed the AC, so this is about 1.5 pounds, the 180 watt one, and this one is 3 pounds 14 ounces.
All right.
But there are a lot of other really nice aspects of this design, as far as there's a really wonderful light on the back of the laptop, and hopefully we'll be able to turn it on and see that. 'cause
Yeah, why don't we fire it up?
that's fun.
Get
Yeah,
this
so
box out of the way.
here's- Grab that. And I'll find this for you.
Oh, we don't need that. Oh, just charging the battery.
And the cool thing about the lighting, oh good, so you have the Tobii eye tracking down there. That's an option. There's 4 different display options. They're all 19
key.
by 10, but different specs otherwise.
Yeah, 1080p 60, 1080p 60 G-Sync, 1080p 144, 1080p 144 G-Sync.
All right, let's show
With and without
the back. So you
Tobii,
see
right?
there's the backlighting here, and looking
Ooh.
back here. And that
Fancy.
stadium loop will reflect whatever lighting scheme you've set for the rest of the laptop.
You know what's also interesting too is,
Oh, listen.
there we go, the fans, is this of course is on the motherboard, the main motherboard here, but these ports are part of that graphics board that Alienware has designed. Linus pointed out, interestingly, which is true, is you could eventually say like, hey, next generation of NVIDIA or AMD graphics, you get different ports. So it's possible you can get more ports,
True.
and then
So you
probably
can
just
update
probably
the
sell
ports.
you either the back or maybe this portion slips out, but it's possible you could replace that. And of course we get our amplifier, we get our 2 power ports.
Nice little Alienware head there.
I like this design.
All right, let's spin it back around. You can see there are thinner bezels on this, which is also nice. A lot of gaming laptops have those really thick bezels.
Especially Alienware.
The chassis inside is a magnesium alloy. This also feels like metal.
Yeah, it's cold to the touch.
Yeah, it's cold to the touch. You got a nice numeric keypad here. You have real mouse buttons with your
Of course, the trackpad lights up.
My preference.
Yeah, I'm glad they went back to this. There's a lot of criticism that I think in the is it the M15,
The M15,
M17?
yeah.
They went away from that because of all the power it consumes. But obviously, this is going to be plugged in for most of its life.
You can also really feel the air coming out these 2 side ports from those dual fans we saw before.
So I'm interested to see how this quote-unquote desktop 2080 runs up against an actual desktop 2080. So
Yeah.
why don't we do some
Yeah.
quick benchmarks and come back to it in a minute.
Okay.
All right, Gordon, we're back. How does it look so far?
Hey, so looks pretty good. We're just doing quick benchmarks. This is not a review, folks. We are going to finish our full review after we run all our tests. We've done a few quick CPU performance tests and a few quick GPU performance has. I really want to know how 2080 does in a big, thick laptop like this when it's full power. I've seen it in Max-Q, and I gotta say, it's a little scary sometimes to see the ray tracing performance in a thin laptop of a 2080 Max-Q part. Basically, it's not that much faster than a 2060 desktop part. So I want to see how the Alienware Area-51m R1 stacks up. And in actual performance, it's actually only about 5% slower than scores I'm seeing in Port Royal, which is a ray tracing benchmark, 3D mark. It's only about 5% slower than a desktop RTX 2080, which is really good. To give you an idea, I think the 2080 Max-Q and a thin and light laptop's about 30% slower than a 2080 part, which is a little scary. This is only about 5% off. GPU's looking awesome. I'm also interested in CPU. Remember, this is a desktop, a Core i9 9900K, a desktop socketed processor in the Area-51m. And I actually ran Cinebench just to do a few quick tests. In performance, stock out of the box, it's damn near as close as a desktop Core i9 9900K with a CLC cooler. To give you an idea, I see about 1200 out of Coffee Lake H's, those 35, 45 watt processors. 1200 to maybe 1350 out of a Core i9 and a Coffee Lake H. This sucker is pushing along with 8 cores, 16 threads, 2000. So my original test of the 9900K on a CLC, I was seeing about 2100. So that's pretty close to what you're getting out of the box in a desktop 900K. It's essentially like a 9900K with MCE off. The default turbo ratios that you're going to get out of 900K. There are overclocking options on here. I haven't really explored them too far yet, but I did want to get a good idea of how this thing does under a heavy thermal load. So I've been running Furmark and Prime 95 for, I think we've been going now for about an hour and 15 minutes. The GPUs, a decent clock, we're basically running up around 1800. It bounces around between 18 to 1600. It's pretty decent. And that's, fairly close to what you're going to get out of a 2080 desktop part. The CPU starts off at about, 4.7. And then as we keep that thermal load going, this is an extreme thermal load. This is Prime 95, no AVX version. We're up at 4.4 right now. So I've seen, kicks off at about 4.7. We get down to maybe 4.5, and then it sort of settles down. 4.4, 4.3, it'll bounce around a little bit, and we are seeing thermal throttling, which is basically, hey, max temperature of this package is 100°C. We're there. We're going to cut it back a little bit to keep the heat down. So this is the default fan setting. There are other fan settings. I don't imagine it gets louder than this, though. This is pretty similar to what you're going to get out of Max. This is without overclocking, and of course, remember, this is an extreme test. This is Furmark, which is a power virus, as people like to call it these days, and Prime 95. You're not going to really see this in today's games or any workloads you're going to throw at a laptop.
What about from the wall? What's the power draw like?
So I was interested because we have two power bricks. We have a 330, we have a 230 or 180, and we're about 400 watts. The screen is at max brightness. We're loading up the GPU and the CPU, and I don't think I saw anything over about 420 watts at the wall. So we're well within the power capability of both of those bricks, but you are going to need both those bricks if you're going to run it hard, obviously. So I'm so far very impressed. I mean, the thermals are actually pretty decent too. I have a thermal
images.
Yeah, where are they? There we go. So this is a thermal image of the keyboard shot with a FLIR. You can see it's actually pretty decent, about 100°C right at the middle here. Sort of the brightest area is about 100. And there's a private text. Okay, thanks. All right. Thanks. So
what are we looking at here?
The heat is not bad. I mean, it's not like it's one of those things, if you've used these big high performance laptops, sometimes they can sort of fry your hands. This is pretty reasonable temperature. So, I think the fan noise is pretty good. The CPU performance is pretty awesome. Those 6-core Core i9s in laptops not going to touch this 8-core desktop part in this laptop. that RTX 2080, performing only about 5% off of, you know, a reference 2080 card. So it's moving along. This is a one fast laptop, and you know, again, remember the big secret is socketed processor. You might be able to upgrade it if you get a CPU that fits in there and works. This is a Z370 chipset, folks, and hopefully upgradable graphics. That can't be determined until we get new GPUs down the road, but this is looking really nice, and I like this white. This white is really
in
kind of
the
a rubberized finish.
The default blue on the keyboard.
The default is blue. It is a per key. We have a Tobii eye tracker in here. There's overclocking built into the BIOS. There's overclocking. Oh, and we got a little bit of power limit there. It's basically the system is like, hey, we're gonna crank back either power or crank back thermals because we're running at extreme heavy loads here, and it's going to do that to keep it from melting down. 100C is about the max. I have seen that actually in a lot of other Coffee Lake H laptops. So desktop part in a laptop, it's not bad.
Nice. So we'll see your full review soon.
Full review hopefully by next week. Got to do a bunch of other tests, but it's looking pretty impressive. I got to say, we've seen, you know, the teardown videos. People have taken this sucker apart, but it's running pretty cool. The noise is not extreme, and I would love to see how this is probably going to smoke the 8700K desktop parts we have seen. You know, it has been done before, and 8.5 pounds. That's a really nice package.
Nice.
We'll see though.
Awesome. Thanks, Gordon.
Okay.